You are driving a ticking time bomb, and you probably don't even know it. Every time you pull up to a pump, you are making a decision that either extends the life of your vehicle or slowly destroys it from the inside out. I have spent over 20 years with grease under my fingernails, tearing down engines that should have lasted 500,000 miles but failed at 80,000. Why? Because the owner thought all gasoline was created equal. They thought saving 3 cents a gallon was a smart financial move. It wasn't. The reality is that over 70% of the fuel sold in this country does not contain enough detergents to keep modern engines functioning correctly. We are seeing an epidemic of carbon buildup, clogged injectors, and stuck valves, all because drivers are filling up at the wrong stations. I have seen cylinder heads so caked in sludge that I had to scrape them with a chisel. But I have also seen engines with high mileage that look brand new inside. The difference wasn't the oil change interval, it was the brand of gasoline they used. Today, I am going to walk you through the 6 specific brands that I trust. These are the fuels that actually clean your engine while you drive, protecting your investment and saving you thousands in repair bills down the road. If you want to avoid a $4,000 repair bill just because you bought cheap gas, go ahead and hit that like button right now. And if you want to keep your car running until the wheels fall off, make sure you are subscribed. Let's get into the fluids that actually matter. To understand why these brands are on my list, you have to understand what is happening inside your combustion chamber. When fuel burns, it leaves behind deposits. It is unavoidable. It's like cooking on a stove. Eventually, grease builds up. In your engine, this grease is hard carbon. It sits on your intake valves, it clogs the tiny holes in your fuel injectors, and it coats the tops of your pistons. When that buildup gets too thick, your valves don't seal properly, your injectors don't spray a fine mist, they dribble. The result is an engine that idles roughly, loses power, and guzzles gas. The Environmental Protection Agency sets minimum standards for detergent additives in gasoline. But here's the secret the budget stations won't tell you. The EPA minimum is a joke. It is barely enough to keep the car running, let alone keep it clean. The brands on this list go way beyond the minimum. They adhere to a standard called top tier. This isn't just a marketing sticker, it is a rigorous testing standard supported by automakers like BMW, General Motors, Toyota, and Honda. They realized that standard gas was ruining their engines, so they created a higher standard. The brands I am about to show you don't just meet this standard, they exceed it. Number 6. Sinclair dinoare. We are starting with a brand that often gets overlooked because it feels like a relic from the past. But do not let the green dinosaur fool you. Sinclair has quietly become one of the most reliable fuel stops for modern engines. You might see that dinosaur logo and think of old-school carbureted engines, but their modern blend, known as dinoare, is scientifically formulated for the high-pressure, high-heat environment of today's direct-injection engines. I have had customers ask me if Sinclair is just budget gas because the stations often look a bit older or more rural. The answer is absolutely not. Sinclair is a certified top-tier fuel provider. Their additive package is designed specifically to target intake valve deposits. In a port injection engine, the fuel sprays over the valves, washing them. If the detergent is weak, that washing action does nothing. It just layers on more grime. Sinclair's detergent concentration is high enough that it actually scrubs the metal as it passes over. I recently worked on a Ford F-150 that had been used as a farm truck its whole life, running exclusively on Sinclair. The odometer showed 230,000 miles. We were in there to replace a timing chain, which is a mechanical wear item, but when I pulled the intake manifold, I was genuinely surprised. Usually, on a work truck with that kind of mileage, I expect to see a thick ridge of carbon on the intake runners. This truck was remarkably clean. The injector ports were clear, and the spray pattern on the pistons was uniform. That tells me the fuel was doing its job. Sinclair claims their additives can improve fuel economy by reducing engine friction and optimizing the burn. While I am always skeptical of magic mileage claims, the logic holds up. A clean engine is an efficient engine. If your valves seal tight, you get better compression. Better compression means more power from every drop of fuel. If you have a Sinclair nearby, don't be afraid of the Dino. It is far better than the unbranded sludge you find at the generic convenience store down the street. Number 5. BP with Invigorate. This is a brand that has had to work hard to rebuild its reputation, and they have done it by engineering one of the best detergent packages on the market. We are talking about BP, specifically their fuels containing the invigorate additive. A lot of people hear BP and they think about the old Amoco days, or they think about corporate oil spills. Put the politics aside for a second and look at the chemistry, because that is what your engine cares about. BP's invigorate formula is interesting because it targets a specific problem that kills newer cars: hesitation. You know that feeling when you step on the gas to merge onto the highway, and for a split second, the car feels like it is thinking about it. That stumble, that is often caused by dirty fuel injectors. Modern fuel injectors operate at insane pressures, sometimes thousands of psi. The holes the fuel sprays through are microscopic. It takes a tiny amount of deposit to disrupt that spray pattern. Instead of a mist, you get a stream. Liquid fuel doesn't burn well. Vapor does. When you have a bad spray pattern, the computer in your car tries to compensate by adding more fuel, which ruins your mileage and fouls your catalytic converter. BP's detergent is aggressive against these deposits. They claim it helps clean your engine starting with the very first tank. Now, cleaning in one tank is marketing speak, but in my experience, consistent use of BP fuel does make a measurable difference in idle quality. I had a customer with a turbocharged Audi, a direct injection engine notorious for carbon buildup. He was getting misfire codes. The dealership wanted to pull the head and walnut blast the valves, a service that costs nearly $1,000. I told him to try running 3 tanks of BP Ultimate, their premium grade, before we tore the engine apart. He came back a month later, and the misfire counts had dropped significantly. The check engine light was off. The detergents didn't fix a mechanical broken part, but they cleaned the gunk that was causing the sensor to panic. That is the power of good chemistry. I want to pause here and ask you a question, and I want you to be honest in the comments. Have you ever noticed your car running differently after filling up at a specific station? Maybe it idled rougher, or maybe it felt peppier. Drop a comment below and tell me your best and worst gas station experiences. I read every single one. Number 4. Costco gasoline. This is the one that shocks people. I get into arguments with other mechanics about this all the time until I show them the data. There is a massive misconception that because Costco sells bulk toilet paper and hot dogs for $1.50, their gas must be discount quality. People assume it is the bottom of the barrel, the leftovers that the big brands didn't want. That could not be further from the truth. Costco gasoline is not just good, it is arguably some of the freshest and most consistent fuel you can buy in America. There are 2 reasons why Costco makes this list, and neither has to do with the price, although the price is a nice bonus. First, let's talk about the additives. Costco does not just buy generic gas and dump it in the ground. They have their own proprietary additive package that is mixed on site at the depot. They are top-tier certified, but they actually dose their fuel with 5 times the EPA requirement for detergent control. Independent lab tests have confirmed this. When you fill up at Costco, you are getting a massive dose of cleaning agents that rival the most expensive premium brands. But the second reason is even more important, and it is something nobody talks about: turnover. Gasoline is a perishable product. It degrades over time. If gas sits in a giant underground tank for weeks, it separates. It absorbs moisture from the ground. Phase separation in ethanol-blended fuel is a nightmare for your fuel pump. Water settles at the bottom, and if you are the unlucky person to fill up when the pump sucks from the bottom, you are pumping water into your engine. Costco stations are incredibly busy. They are pumping millions of gallons. They turn over their entire inventory every 24 to 48 hours. The gas in their tanks never has time to get stale. It never sits long enough to absorb significant moisture or separate. You are getting the freshest possible product every single time. I have a regular customer with a Toyota 4Runner, a vehicle that is already bulletproof, but he has 315,000 miles on it. He has kept a log of every fill-up since 2014, and 90% of them are from Costco. We had to replace a valve cover gasket recently, allowing me to see the valve train. It was spotless. nice. No varnish, no sludge. It looked like an engine with 50,000 miles. That is the combination of regular oil changes and high-quality fresh fuel. Don't let the long lines scare you. Your engine loves that stuff. Number 3. ExxonMobil Synergy. Now we are moving into the heavy hitters, the titans of the industry. ExxonMobil. You see their stations on every corner, but what you need to pay attention to is the Synergy label on the pump. This isn't just a fancy name. It represents a massive investment in molecular engineering. ExxonMobil employs an army of chemical engineers whose sole job is to figure out how to make fuel burn cleaner and cooler. The Synergy formula is distinct because it focuses heavily on friction reduction. You see, detergents are great for cleaning, but you also need lubrication. The upper cylinder area of your engine, where the piston rings slide against the cylinder walls, is a high friction zone. Modern oils are great, but having a fuel that contains a friction modifier adds an extra layer of protection. It helps the rings slide more freely, which reduces heat and wear. I have seen the long-term results of this in fleet vehicles. We service a fleet of delivery vans that run exclusively on ExxonMobil corporate cards. These vans live a hard life. Stop and go, heavy loads, idling for hours. When we pull the spark plugs on these vans during tune-ups, they are remarkably clean. Usually, excessive idling fouls plugs with soot because the engine isn't getting hot enough to burn everything off. The Synergy additive package seems to promote a much cleaner burn even at low temperatures. Another thing to consider is consistency. ExxonMobil has one of the strictest quality control supply chains in the world. Whether you are filling up in Miami or Montana, the chemical composition of that Synergy fuel is going to be nearly identical. For modern engines with sensitive computers that fine-tune the air-fuel ratio hundreds of times a second, that consistency is gold. The computer learns the fuel quality. If you keep feeding it stable, high-quality gas, the ECU can advance the timing, giving you better performance and mileage. If you bounce around between trash gas and good gas, the computer is constantly pulling timing to protect the engine, making the car feel sluggish. Number 2. Chevron with Techron. If you ask any old-school mechanic, any race car builder, or anyone who really knows engines to name the best gas, 9 out of 10 will immediately say Chevron. And there is one word that explains why: Techron. Techron is legendary in the automotive world. It is not snake oil. It is a patented polyethylamine-based detergent that Chevron developed decades ago and has been refining ever since. Polyethylamine, or PEA, is the heavy artillery of the chemical world when it comes to carbon deposits. Most detergents can prevent soft sludge from forming, but PEA is strong enough to attack hard, baked-on carbon deposits that have been there for years and dissolve them. This is why Chevron is often recommended as the fix-it fuel. If a car comes into my shop failing an emissions test because of high hydrocarbons, or if it has a wandering idle, my first step before I replace a single part is often to tell the customer to run 2 tanks of Chevron Supreme through it and drive it hard on the highway. You would be amazed at how often that clears the problem. The Techron cleans the deposits off the sensors and the catalytic converter, allowing the system to recalibrate. I once tore down a Chevrolet small block engine that had run over 150,000 miles. The owner was a stickler for Chevron gas. When we pulled the valves out, the stems were shiny. Usually, you have to take a wire wheel to them to get the crust off. These wiped clean with a shop rag. That kind of cleanliness keeps the airflow into the engine smooth. When air tumbles over carbon deposits, it creates turbulence that hurts combustion. When the intake path is smooth, the air rushes in efficiently, and you get maximum power. Techron is so effective that other automotive companies buy the concentrate from Chevron to rebrand and sell as fuel system cleaner in bottles. But why buy the bottle for $15 when you can just get a maintenance dose every time you fill up? It costs a few cents more per gallon than the generic stuff, but it is cheaper than a fuel injector replacement, which can easily run you $600 or more. We are about to reveal the number 1 pick, the brand that I believe offers the absolute best protection for high performance and daily driver engines alike. But before we get there, I have another question for you. How many miles are on your current car? Are you driving a new lease, or are you keeping an old warrior alive? Let me know your mileage in the comments below. Number 1. Shell V-Power Nitro Plus. This is it, the king of the hill. If I had to choose one fuel to run in my personal truck for the rest of its life, it would be Shell, specifically their V-Power Nitro Plus blend. Shell has partnered with Ferrari for decades, and while that sounds like just a marketing flex, the technology transfer is real. The fuel they put in those Formula One cars is surprisingly similar in its additive chemistry to what you get at the pump. Shell V-Power is unique because it is engineered to provide what they call total engine protection. It targets three things: deposits, corrosion, and friction. We have talked about deposits and friction, but corrosion is a silent killer, especially with modern ethanol fuels. Ethanol attracts water, and water rusts metal. The fuel lines, the pump internals, the injector pintles, they are all susceptible to microscopic corrosion that creates rough surfaces. Rough surfaces attract carbon, and the cycle of destruction begins. Shell's corrosion inhibitors are top class. They form a protective film over the metal surfaces of your fuel system. It's like coating your engine internals in a microscopic layer of armor. But the real star of the show is the cleaning power. Shell claims their Nitro Plus formula removes up to 100% of performance-robbing deposits. That is a bold claim, but independent testing backs it up. I remember a specific case with a Lexus IS350, a beautiful car with a complex direct injection engine. The owner was meticulous. He had almost 200,000 miles on the clock. He brought it in for a suspension refresh, but he asked me to check the compression just to see how the engine was holding up. The numbers were perfect, even across all cylinders, right at factory spec. He told me he used nothing but Shell V-Power since the day he drove it off the lot. When you look at the bore scope images of cylinders running on Shell, the piston tops are often visible metal. In engines running cheap gas, the pistons look like they are covered in black velvet. That's the soot. That soot creates hot spots. Hot spots cause knock, or pre-ignition. When the engine hears knock, it retards the timing to save itself, and your horsepower goes out the window. By keeping the combustion chamber clean, Shell allows your engine to run at its maximum potential timing advance. You get all the horsepower you paid for. Shell also invests more in research and development than almost any other energy company. They are constantly tweaking the formula. When engines change, Shell changes the fuel. Direct injection, turbocharging, variable valve timing. Shell adapts the chemical composition to suit these technologies. It is the most technologically advanced liquid you can put in your tank. Conclusion. So, there you have it. Sinclair, BP, Costco, ExxonMobil, Chevron, and Shell. These aren't just brands, they are insurance policies for your vehicle. I know what you're thinking, but these brands cost 10, maybe 20 cents more a gallon. You're right, they do. But let's do the math. If you fill up a 15-gallon tank, the difference is maybe $3. $3 to ensure that your injectors stay clean, your valves seal tight, and your engine delivers the power it was designed to make. Compare that $3 a week to the cost of a new catalytic converter, which can cost $2,000. Compare it to the cost of a fuel system overhaul. Compare it to the frustration of a car that stalls in traffic or won't start on a cold morning. Cheap gas is a trap. It lures you in with immediate savings and hits you with long-term costs. As a mechanic, I make a lot of money fixing cars broken by negligence. Don't be the customer who pays my mortgage because you wanted to save a few pennies at the pump. Treat your engine with respect, feed it high-quality fuel, and it will return the favor with hundreds of thousands of trouble-free miles. Now, I want to do something for you. If you are unsure if a station near you is top-tier certified, or if you want to know more about the specific additives we talked about, I'm going to leave a link in the description to the official top-tier licensing list. Go check it out. Make sure your local station is on that list. If you found this information helpful, please share this video with a friend who drives a nice car but puts junk fuel in it. You might just save their engine. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a tip from the shop. Until next time, keep it clean and drive safe.